Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we will dive deep into the shocking news of Jacqueline MacInnes Wood's upcoming departure from the bold and the beautiful, Steffy Forrester's terrifying midnight escape from Los Angeles, and the massive corporate chaos her sudden exit leaves behind at Forrester Creations. Let us be real for a second, because the news we just got is absolutely massive, and it is going to completely shift the entire landscape of our favorite soap opera. Jacqueline MacInnes Wood, the incredible powerhouse who has brought Steffy Forrester to life for years, recently announced that she will be taking a well-deserved leave of absence starting this May. She is stepping away for a few months to rest, recharge, and focus on caring for her beautiful family and her children. Honestly, as much as I am going to miss seeing her fierce energy on my screen every single day, I have nothing but massive respect for her decision. Soap stars work grueling non-stop schedules, filming multiple episodes a day, and Jacqueline has been carrying some of the heaviest, most emotionally exhausting storylines on the entire canvas. She deserves this break, but here's the kicker, guys. The writers could have just sent Steffy on a boring business trip to International, or maybe a prolonged vacation to Paris to visit Thomas. But no, they decided to write her out in the most explosive, heart-wrenching, and dramatic way possible, tying her exit directly to the ultimate legacy villain of the show, Sheila Carter. I need you all to buckle up, because the storyline they have crafted for Steffy's temporary exit is pure, unadulterated psychological thriller material. We have been watching the tension build for weeks, ever since the absolute bombshell dropped that Deacon Sharp and Taylor Hayes were having a secret romance. We all knew Sheila was going to lose her mind, and she did. We literally just saw the terrifying fallout when Sheila completely unhinged and pushed to the brink of her sanity, cornered Taylor in her office, wielding a pizza cutter like a deadly weapon. Can you even imagine the sheer panic Steffy had to witness, the aftermath of that? She had to process the reality that this monster, this woman who has terrorized her family for decades, was inches away from slicing her mother to pieces. I think we really need to pause and talk about Steffy's psychological state right now, because many fans think she's just being a dramatic, controlling wife, but I think her reaction is completely justified. Let us look at the history here. This is not just some annoying mother-in-law conflict. Sheila Carter literally gunned Steffy down in a dark alleyway. She shot her own son Finn, leaving him for dead in a pile of garbage, and then turned the gun on Steffy. Steffy woke up in a hospital bed with severe amnesia, relying on a machine to breathe, thinking Liam was still her husband. She lost pieces of her life because of Sheila. She carries the physical and emotional scars of that bullet every single day. So when Steffy sees Sheila holding a blade near her mother, all of that buried PTSD comes roaring back to the surface in a tidal wave of sheer terror. And what makes this entire situation a million times worse is John Finn Finnegan. I am sorry, I know Finn has a lot of fans, but I am absolutely furious with him right now. Finn has been walking around with these rose-colored glasses, desperately clinging to this delusional fantasy that his birth mother has somehow magically reformed. He actually stood there and defended Sheila's recent restraint, acting like the fact that she did not physically butcher Taylor was some sort of miraculous sign of personal growth. Are you kidding me? Steffy is looking at her husband, the man who swore to protect her and their children, and she's realizing with absolute horror that he's a liability. Finn's naive optimism is dangerous. It is a fatal flaw. Steffy can no longer trust his judgment, and honestly, can you blame her? How can you sleep next to a man who refuses to see the monster lurking at your doorstep? But the absolute breaking point, the moment that shatters Steffy's world, completely happens away from the office. It happens in the one place that is supposed to be a safe haven for innocent children. The park. According to the latest storyline developments, Steffy takes little Hayes to the park just trying to get a breath of fresh air, trying to find a moment of peace amidst the absolute chaos of the Deacon and Taylor fallout. She pushes Hayes on the swings, maybe looking away for just a split second to check her phone or grab a juice box, and when she looks back, her blood runs ice cold. There, standing just a few yards away, partially hidden by the shade of a large oak tree, is Sheila Carter. She is not attacking. She is not screaming. She is just watching. She is intensely, obsessively staring at her biological grandson. That image alone is enough to send shivers down my spine. Imagine being a mother and seeing the woman who tried to murder you silently, stalking your toddler. It is a scene straight out of a horror movie. Steffy does not confront her. She does not scream for the police. The primal maternal instinct takes over completely. She scoops Hayes up into her arms, her heart hammering against her ribs like a trapped bird, and she runs. She runs back to the safety of her car, locks the doors, and speeds away, looking in the rearview mirror the entire time. That terrifying encounter at the park is the ultimate catalyst. Steffi realizes in that exact moment that there is no safe space left in Los Angeles. The Cliff House is not safe. Forrester Creations is not safe. The local parks are not safe. As long as Sheila Carter is walking the streets, breathing the same air, Steffi and her children are in mortal danger. And because Finn is blinded by his desperate need for maternal connection, Steffi knows she's entirely on her own. She has to be the protector. She has to be the one to make the impossible, agonizing choice. This leads us to one of the most emotionally devastating sequences we are going to see on this show all year. It is the middle of the night. The ocean waves are crashing violently against the rocks below the Cliff House, perfectly mirroring the absolute turmoil inside Steffi's soul. Finn is asleep, completely oblivious to the nightmare his wife is living. Steffi is moving silently through the house, pulling out suitcases, throwing clothes, toys, and essentials into bags. She is crying. She is physically shaking from the adrenaline and the heartbreak. She is packing up her entire life, her children's lives, and preparing to flee her own home like a fugitive in the night. And you will not believe what happens next. Before she leaves, Steffi sits down at the kitchen counter. The same counter where she and Finn have shared 1,000 morning coffees, 1,000 kisses, 1,000 promises of forever. She takes out a pen and a piece of paper, and she writes a letter. This is not a simple goodbye note. This is a tear-soaked, agonizingly painful ultimatum. She pours her entire shattered heart onto that page. She tells Finn how much she loves him, how he is the love of her life, but she also tells him the brutal, unforgiving truth. She cannot live in fear anymore. She cannot look at him and wonder if his blind spot for Sheila is going to end up getting their children killed. In that letter, Steffi draws the ultimate line in the sand. She explicitly states that she is taking Kelly and Hayes, and she is leaving Los Angeles. And the absolute kicker, she declares that she will not return until Sheila Carter is permanently, entirely gone from their lives. It is the ultimate ultimatum, me or her. Steffi is forcing Finn to wake up from his delusion and realize that his toxic empathy for his birth mother has just cost him his wife and his family. I think this action, while incredibly drastic, is 100% justified. Many fans might argue that Steffi is running away from her problems, but I think she is doing the only responsible thing a mother can do. When the system fails you, when your husband fails you, you have to save your kids. Period. Imagine the absolute gut punch of a scene we're going to get when Finn wakes up the next morning. The sun is shining. The house is quiet. Too quiet. He walks out into the living room, rubbing the sleep from his eyes, expecting to see Steffi making breakfast or Hayes playing on the rug. Instead, he finds the house eerily empty. He sees the missing suitcases, and then he sees the letter on the counter. We are going to watch John Finnegan's entire world collapse in real time as he reads those words. The realization is going to hit him like a freight train. His mother, the woman he has been secretly making excuses for, the woman he thought was showing restraint, has driven his family away. Will this finally be the moment Finn snaps out of his fog? Will this be the catalyst that turns Finn against Sheila forever? I honestly hope so, because if this does not wake him up, absolutely nothing will. But let us pivot for a moment, because Steffi's midnight escape does not just shatter her marriage, it sends massive, catastrophic shockwaves through the entire corporate structure of Forrester Creations. Steffi is not just a wife and a mother. She is the co-CEO of one of the largest fashion empires in the world. She is the driving force, the visionary, the iron fist that keeps that company running smoothly. Her sudden, unexplained disappearance leaves a massive power vacuum at the very top of the corporate ladder. And the timing could not possibly be worse. Ridge Forrester is about to face the ultimate leadership crisis. He is already drowning in a sea of personal and professional drama. Let us look at what Ridge is currently dealing with. He has his son, RJ Forrester, acting like an entitled, aggressive brat, getting into physical shoving matches in the showroom with Will Spencer. RJ is completely ignoring Ridge's orders to be civil, and instead he is toxically manipulating Melissa Dillon and obsessing over Elektra. Then you have Ivy Forrester, who has completely lost her mind, running around the office like a sociopathic matchmaker, unapologetically destroying relationships, and then brazenly demanding Ridge support her insane schemes. And on top of all that, Ridge is fuming over the fact that Katie Logan and Bill Spencer are parading Eric Forrester's designs down the runway at their own fashion events. Ridge is stretched incredibly thin. His patience is completely gone. And now he has to run the entire company by himself because his co-CEO just fled the state. Ridge is going to be completely overwhelmed. He cannot manage the day-to-day operations, the design approvals, the PR crises, and the HR nightmare is all on his own. He desperately needs backup. And that brings us to a massive, highly anticipated plot point. With Steffi gone, there is only one person who can step into that executive void and help Ridge hold the Forrester empire together. Thomas Forrester. Right now, Thomas is in off-screen exile. He has been living in Paris, supposedly working remotely as a designer for the Hope for the Future line, all under the guise of providing a stable environment for his son Douglas. We all know the show wrote him into this corner to give the character a breather, and in real life, we just got the amazing news that Matthew Atkinson and his wife Brittany are expecting their second child, a baby girl. It is wonderful news for the actor, and he might want some time with his growing family. But the narrative logic of the show is screaming for Thomas to return to Los Angeles. With Steffi abandoning her post, Ridge is going to have to pick up the phone and make that desperate call to Paris. He is going to have to tell Thomas that the family needs him, the company needs him. I predict we are going to see a massive push to bring Thomas back to the LA canvas. LA is just a flight away, and Thomas has always been fiercely loyal to his family's legacy. If Ridge tells him the company's on the verge of collapse because of RJ's immaturity, Ivy's insanity, and Steffi's absence, Thomas will pack his bags. But think about the absolute chaos Thomas's return would cause right now. Hope Logan is currently engaged in a fierce, bitter, work-related hostility with Steffi. Hope has been defending her father, Deacon, and pushing back against Steffi's judgments. With Steffi gone, Hope might initially feel a sense of victory. She might think she finally has the upper hand at Forrester Creations without Steffi breathing down her neck. But if Thomas returns to fill that power vacuum, stepping into an executive role to help Ridge, Hope is going to have to deal directly with her former obsessive lover, who is now her boss. The dynamic would be incredibly explosive. Will Thomas come back reformed and focused strictly on business, or will being back in Hope's orbit reignite those old dangerous sparks? And we cannot forget about the villain at the center of all this destruction. What is Sheila Carter going to do when she realizes her actions have driven her grandson out of the city? Sheila is a creature of obsession. She convinced herself that if she just played the long game, if she just pretended to be good, she would eventually earn her way back into Finn and Hayes' lives. But Steffi just blew up that entire plan. Steffi took the prize away. When Sheila finds out that Steffi fled with Hayes and that Finn is devastated and alone, how will she react? Many fans think Sheila will try to comfort Finn, using Steffi's departure as an opportunity to wedge herself further into his life. She might play the victim crying to Finn, "Oh, look what your cruel wife did. She took your son away from you. But don't worry, your mother is here for you." It is a classic, manipulative, narcissistic abuser tactic. And the terrifying part is, Finn is vulnerable enough right now that he might actually fall for it. He is going to be grieving the loss of his family. And Sheila will be right there, ready to poison his mind against Steffi. But I think there is another much darker possibility. Sheila is currently pretending to accept Deacon's romance with Taylor. She is playing the role of the subdued, heartbroken ex-wife. But underneath that calm exterior, a volcano of rage is bubbling. She is already plotting psychological warfare against Deacon and Taylor. Now, add the fact that Taylor's daughter just stole Sheila's grandson. Sheila's hatred for the Forrester women is going to reach apocalyptic levels. She might blame Taylor for all of this. She might decide that since Taylor stole her man and Steffi stole her grandson, it is time to burn their entire world to the ground. We could be looking at a May sweeps event where Sheila completely drops the Reformed Act and goes on a full-blown scorched earth rampage. Let us take a step back and look at the sheer brilliance of this writing choice. By having Jacqueline MacInnes Wood's maternity leave coincide with this massive Sheila Carter climax, the writers have organically created a storyline that impacts literally every single character on the canvas. It is not just a temporary exit, it is a fundamental shift in the show's universe. Steffi's trauma is real. Her fear is palpable. When you look back at the history of this show, Steffi has always been a fighter. She is the woman who rode a motorcycle down the aisle. She is the woman who took over a global fashion house. She does not scare easily. So the fact that she is packing her bags and running away in the middle of the night speaks volumes about the sheer magnitude of the threat Sheila poses. It highlights how deeply broken the trust in her marriage has become. Finn was supposed to be her safe harbor after the endless, exhausting love triangles with Liam. He was supposed to be the loyal, devoted doctor who put her first, but the shadow of his biological mother has eclipsed all of that. I am incredibly anxious to see how the rest of the Forrester family reacts to Steffi's letter. Ridge is going to absolutely lose his mind when he finds out that his daughter felt so unsafe, so unprotected by her own husband that she had to flee the city. His hatred for Finn is going to skyrocket. We might see Ridge physically attack Finn. We will definitely see Ridge launch a massive private security manhunt to ensure Sheila is neutralized. Ridge has always been fiercely protective of Steffi, and knowing she is out there alone hiding from a psychopath is going to drive him to the edge. And what about Taylor? Taylor is currently floating on Cloud 9, enjoying her new public romance with Deacon Sharp, completely oblivious to the dangers surrounding her. When Taylor finds out that her daughter left town because she was terrified of the woman Taylor's new boyfriend was just married to, the guilt is going to be overwhelming. Taylor is a world-renowned psychiatrist. How could she not see the psychological toll this was taking on her own daughter? How could she be so caught up in her romance with Deacon that she missed the signs of Steffi's impending breakdown? This is going to cause a massive rift between Taylor and Ridge, and potentially between Taylor and Deacon. As we look toward the future, the next few months of The Bold and the Beautiful are going to be a roller coaster of corporate power struggles, broken marriages, and psychological warfare. Steffi's absence is a gaping wound that everyone will try to exploit. RJ will undoubtedly try to use the lack of supervision to further his toxic agenda against Will. Ivy will run rampant without Steffi there to check her behavior. Hope will try to seize creative control of the company. And Ridge will be left standing in the middle of the storm, desperately trying to hold the legacy of Eric Forrester together. I want to know what you guys think about all of this. Do you support Steffi's decision to pack up the kids and leave Finn behind? Do you think she is justified in her fear, or do you think she should have stayed and fought Sheila head on? And what about Finn? Is there any redemption left for his character, or has his blind loyalty to Sheila permanently ruined him in the eyes of the fans? Let me know your theories down in the comments. I read every single one of them, and I love seeing how your predictions match up with the show's crazy logic. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. Because as soon as we get word on where Steffi went, or if Thomas is officially returning from Paris to save Forrester Creations, I will be right here breaking it all down for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.